What levers did you pull to change your environment, man?
I remember when I was 25 and I didn't read any books at that time. I didn't really have any personal development. But I remember looking around and taking evaluation of all my friends. They're not good influences. They're these people that are just takers. And I remember calling all of my friends, which weren't that many. There was like 7 of them at that time. And I just said, hey, you know what? I'm breaking up with you, basically. I had a friend breakup. I just said, listen, I want to go a different trajectory in my life. I don't think we can be friends. I'm really sorry. I enjoyed the good times that we had, but I'll always be cordial with you, but I just don't want to be friends anymore. So I apologize. I actually did that. And it was one of the greatest decisions of my life. And so when I moved to Vegas, I really didn't have many friends. I had my family. I don't really have many friends there. At the same time, when I was transitioning from poker into real estate, I did an emotional intelligence course. And I really loved the environment. I really came unlocked. And so I knew I wanted to surround myself with other like-minded people in personal development, people who were on the same trajectory as me. And I really built my friendship group from this, at least when I lived in Vegas, out of this core group of personal development junkies, and really wanted to fast track our results in life. And those are people who I befriended. My wife luckily was the same exact person as I was then, personal development junkie. Even we went to a Tony Robbins UPW, and we hadn't taken a honeymoon yet. This is my wife, and I just remember saying, this is why I'm so glad I married you. She ran up to me, and she's, can we, for our honeymoon, do the Fiji Life and Wealth Mastery? Thank God I married the right woman. Yeah, it was great, man. I enjoyed it. And so I really developed my friendships within that community. And then obviously things evolve. Some fall off, and some stay with you. And that's really what happened. But I never kept my poker friends because of the degenerative lifestyle.
Yep.
And I am not attracted to in friendships where people keep making the same mistakes over and over again. I am like the biggest supporter of my friends, but I am the first one to say, this is a pattern, and that you're going to abruptly end the pattern now, and I'll support you for that. But don't keep coming to me with the same problem. I'm not that guy. I just had that conversation with a friend of mine who's like going through this breakup, not breakup thing. And he's called me 3 times in the last 2 weeks lately. And I had to tell him, I said, listen, I'm always going to be here for you, but only call me from now on about your relationship. Only if you're making a really hard decision, and then I'll support you then.
Yeah, I'm not here to babysit you emotionally here.
And my time is valuable. I love my friends, but also at the same time, grow up.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious to think about it. It's a heavy subject, and that's why I ask about it, because I went through it too, and nobody talks about it. They just act like it's the easiest thing, but I think it's the hardest thing in this journey. Killing off parts of you, killing parts of your ego, killing off old relationships. I'm doing that right now. I'm moving from Atlanta to Austin, Texas, because I just got out of a long-term relationship. I just got done traveling around the world. I came back, and I'm like, let's do an inventory here. Let's do an audit. And it's time to move on. So I'm doing the same thing as you. So it's just fun to watch other people on this journey. What's some advice that you would give to people that are going through a similar transition, especially as we're going here into a new year where people are making a lot of change? And then we'll get into the financials here.
Yeah, look, I mean, at the end of the day, my advice to anybody that's in here and having to make that decision, again, let's resurface the conversation from earlier. Long term, you have to know what you want. You want a crystal clear vision. You have to be inspired by your friends. People think this is really hardcore of me, but I rank my friends, right?
Oh, man, like MySpace. Oh, God.
Yeah, 100%. And
that was brutal, by the way, publicly.
I loved it. By the way, I loved it. I think I loved it so much because it's instant feedback. Right? It truly is. And if you're in an entrepreneurial role, you have to get feedback. If you can't get feedback, you're just screwed. You're going to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. So I love the instant feedback. So I rank my friends. Now, I'm not saying don't be as cutthroat as I am. But what happens is you start to decipher very easily what's really important to you in a friendship. And that's what you seek, right? And then, so I would really figure out what you want in your friendships, right? There's just taking a step backwards and really getting in with yourself and maybe journaling to see what attracts you to people and who you want to be around. So when you can identify those traits in a friend, go and seek a friendship and go tell that person I would like to be friends. Be authentic.
Yeah. But there's also a key point to that. You have to be the guy or the girl that's worth that. You have to be that person to seek that person. I think a lot of people forget to do that part.
Exactly, 100%. And then there's just other key components there is that you have to understand that life is one long continuum, and people will come and go into your life. And people will come and be part of your journey forever. They'll be lifelong friends. People will come in for 10, 20 years, and that's awesome. Some people will be in for 5 years. Some people will be in for 6 months. Some people, and you have to understand that life is just this crazy continuum. But I promise you, if you're whole and you like love yourself, you're going to find other people who can be around you, who you can share the love with. There's just so much of abundance of love, and people are so generally good at their core. And so that even if you have to get rid of some friends, just understand it's just part of your chapters in life. And if you're holding on to something that's not serving you now or serving
anchor
where you want to be, then it's not worth it. If it's just a net, like we talked about a little bit earlier, if they're a net positive in your life, then keep them. If they're a net negative, just get rid of them. It's, you know what? It's like when you're giving advice to somebody who's in a relationship that's a bad relationship, when you do that, you just, because you're not emotionally attached, you just know what the right answer is always. Right?
Yeah.
You're just like, I told you so. It's just, we're never wrong when we're emotionally detached from the relationship. Yeah. And so you have to learn how to be able to unattach yourself and detach yourself from the emotions and understand it logically if they're going to serve good or bad. I'm not saying give up on love and trying to help and support people. You should always do that. You should always know that you tried to help them in whatever way. But if they're not serving you, like another person will fill up that void that you're about to get rid of, I promise.
Yeah, and I like the analogy of the minivan. You've got this minivan of life, and you've got all these different seats and rows in this minivan. And some of these people may be friends from college or people that would take a freaking bullet for you. And you're like, hey, I'm not killing the relationship, and I'm killing my availability to it. Yeah. So it's just like they're not sitting in the front seat of the van with you, controlling the directions, controlling the music that you're listening to. Like they're sitting in the back. And sometimes it has to be family members too.